Hey guys, welcome to Left Hand Backhand Disc Golf, the channel where if you see a forehand, something has gone drastically wrong and the wheels are 100% off. I'm Jake,
And I'm Rachel.
providing commentary on round 2 of the 2024 Blue Ridge Championship, round 2 at North Cove in Marion, North Carolina.
This is first hole, 333 feet.
Yep.
Tee pad is elevated.
They're on downhill with the creek behind. Left this one a little bit short, threw a Nate Doss TI Buzz off the tee, and just didn't quite commit to the shot. And left my putt short as well. First round, I was really struggling. If you saw coverage to get off the tee well, wasn't just trusting my angles, and my discs weren't quite doing what I expected. I don't know if I wasn't committing to my shots or scared about the out of bounds or what it was exactly, but wasn't quite the start I wanted. So here I had one goal, and my friends played the course the day before, told me just one thing for the round: stay in bounds off the tee on 2.
It looked like there was so much out of bounds from that sign.
Everything in the water there is out of bounds, and you're starting from out and you have to cross in. If you don't cross, then you have to re-tee. Thankfully I did cross, but I did not meet the one goal of the day of staying in bounds.
About how far away do you think you were?
I don't recall exactly, probably 200, 220 feet. It might have been 250, I'm not sure.
Sure.
Close enough that it should be a routine shot, but as you can see, the out of bounds is so close on the right side there.
Yeah, I'm sure that gets into your head, into other players' head. You just don't want to hit the water, even though you're doing your left-hand backhand.
Well, that brings... Actually, it's harder with the left-hand backhand because the disc is approaching the water. So I tried to leave it on the left side. Unfortunately, I left it way left.
And now you're trying to find your disc. Thankfully, the water didn't carry it.
And I've played this course when the water was rushing a lot more after heavier rain. And thankfully, the water was pretty calm. Even after the little rain that we'd gotten the day before, I would say it was a steady rain the day before. It wasn't rushing. This one's about a 50-footer, and there's out of bounds behind the basket, so if this hits the band and ramps off the backside or anything, then it's almost guaranteed to go out.
Step.
Got it.
Nice. That step putt worked really well for you.
I was putting well, especially in circle 2. It was really the only thing keeping me in the tournament. In round 1, since I was struggling off the tee so much, my approaching and my putting really kept the score respectable. Even though I started 10 back of the lead, it wasn't a terrible first round.
Hole 3, 379 feet. Very tight. All those trees.
And I don't really buy the 379. It's probably 410, and it was uphill. At least it played like it. This one's a really hard birdie for me. I was just trying to get into this circle 2 to hopefully have a step putt look. Clipped a tree and shot off to the right side here. I think I'm about 150 feet out, and just do a nice putter approach into the hillside, keep close to the pin. Take my par.
Pars are smart.
Pars are smart, but on this course I really want more birdies. Yeah, really want more birdies. And knowing that I need to make up ground on the leaders, I was feeling the pressure to pick up some birdies here.
Because at round 2, you started tied for 20th,
Yep.
right?
Started tied for 20th.
And you wanted to be... Where did you want to place at the end of the weekend? All 3 rounds.
Well, before round 1, I wanted to be top 5. After round 1, even top 10, I probably would have been pleased with.
Okay.
I just had a really hard time staying in bounds. I believe I took 6 OB or hazard strokes in round 1.
I just took that film because it looked so pretty. It was just real nice. I'm sure it was a huge mental game, though, to throw across the bridge, the water, through the trees.
All of that's out of bounds, and the green on the left side, you had to land on the left, or else I'd have to re-tee. Teeing from out of bounds.
But at least you didn't land in the water.
Did not land in the water. I landed next to the pin. It barely missed that tree in the middle, so it was a really good result.
Sure. Now, it is harder when you're playing and competing and you have to deal with out of bounds and figuring out if the out of bounds isn't clearly marked and you have to talk through what's in bounds, What's not out of bounds? You had some of that yesterday at Gorge.
There was a lot of that on all cards across the tournament.
And here at Boulder, you're still determining inbounds, out of bounds, and how exactly do you do the... I mean, it wasn't for you, it was for one of your card mates, but how is he supposed to throw
Well,
up?
part of the issue is when it's not clear where the out of bounds begins or ends. For example, if surrounded by water is out of bounds, but the water has mud, then dry land, it's very hard to say, okay, here's where the out of bounds line is, so here's where you take your meter relief in any direction. And in that case, it was on a tree. So he hit that tree, then went out of bounds, and we ruled that he had to take his meter from behind the tree. It was just tricky. There was always a lot of discussion there.
In this hole 5, you went by so quickly, I barely had time to catch the drive.
It's okay, it wasn't a good shot. This should be a very routine birdie, 260-foot shot or something like that, and I just shanked my drive, had a bad upshot, and now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I'm only 1 under, or 2 under. I really wanted, actually I'm 1 under. Really wanted a couple more birdies at this stage.
Wind is picking up.
Yep.
Bing.
But thankfully I was able to make it. My goal was to be 3 under through 5 for this course. So I'm feeling a little bit like I'm playing from behind already.
Hole 6, 402 feet. Did it feel like 402 feet?
No, actually this one was probably closer to 360. I think the distance was wrong on that one. I didn't measure it, but I was playing this one for par anyway. Bringing the water into play on that left side, I just wanted to take that out completely. Play safe over to the right, pitch up, and take a par.
Oof.
This wasn't one of the birdies that I was trying to get
Another
today.
creek. It seemed like there was so much water here at Boulder compared to Gorge. I might just be remembering it incorrectly.
No, you're right. You're right. Boulder, the river did run through more holes and was in play more often, I think.
Here's another one. Is it in bounds? Is it out of bounds? Which rock qualifies as in bounds? Which rock qualifies as out of bounds?
This one, the disc was touching the rock, which we ultimately determined that if it landed on the rock, it would be inbounds. Therefore, the rock is in. And even though the disc has water surrounding the base of the water, since it was resting against the rock, it was ruled inbounds.
But you didn't have to worry about that because you were sitting between those two rocks. You just dropped your disc in the basket.
I didn't have to worry about it, but my card mate made the putt. We played a provisional at the time. He made the birdie putt and missed the provisional. So that was a big decision because it was the difference between birdie and bogey. Ultimately ruled in his favor, birdie.
This is an interesting hole too because you can't see the basket.
Oh, this hole is awesome. One of my favorites on the course.
But you play into rocks. You don't see the basket, but you have to just aim for rocks.
It's just a beautiful hole. And that drive I really got a hold of with a 2024 Tour Series Scorch. And that's unfortunate.
I feel like that little cave is that's another mental game. Because you can see the basket, but it's just surrounded by all the rocks.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a tricky green, but was able to get the birdie there.
Hole 8.
This one's a double mando. You have to go through trees on the left and the right. You have a few gaps you can pick. I left it a little bit short, but I hit the gap and I got down on the flat. That's all I wanted. As you can see here, as you almost could see here, there's the flag down. You can see it for the basket. One of my card mates hit the mando tree, did not miss the mando, so he was able to take a shot from back there.
And is this one, it looks like you're putting up from uphill, you're putting downhill. Was there a creek or out of bounds behind the basket?
Just a big slope and a lot of mud. It definitely felt like a death putt where if I were to airmail this one and miss everything, it's not guaranteed to be able to make the comeback putt.
Okay. As I'm recording things, there's only so much that I can see because I'm standing behind all of the players in the cards.
Got it.
Nice.
That step putt's definitely working for me. It's keeping me in it.
Nice birdie. Hole 9. Midway through. Almost.
This is a very challenging green with the pin up in rocks on the left side. Really fun hole. Another hole that I'm playing for par. Just throw a big hyzer, sweeping hyzer shot.
It seemed like you had a big sigh of relief right there. There's all the rocks. It's interesting because sometimes on these holes, it seems like you're aiming for the rocks more so than the basket.
It's difficult because you don't want to hit and roll, especially when the pin is up in rocks or on a hill. So your angle control into the green is definitely a consideration. I skipped off that rock where the pin is and went a little bit deep, probably a 15-foot putt coming back. It's a lot harder to make a 15-foot putt like this than it is in the backyard, though, with that slope behind the pin. Able to get it, though.
It's just a fun course. It was fun to watch everybody play. It was fun to watch and see all of the holes, how it was set up, where the baskets were. There's nothing like North Cove. Everyone's just finishing up right now, and as you can see, you have to go up, you have to go down. Hopefully remember your discs and don't leave them on a tee.
This hole has a couple hazards. You can see the sand bunkers there on the right, so we were all trying to keep it well to the left and potentially give ourselves a throw into the green for a birdie look.
So we're at hole 10. What are you throwing right now?
This one's a Bar Stamp Prodigy D3. One of my go-to discs for the weekend, has good stability, and I was just trying to skip it in here. You could just see it flare up a little bit. Try and skip into the green. There's kind of a bowl down in close to the water, so you don't want to go deep. I left it just a little bit too short, though.
Taking another knee for the putt. And it looks like there's water behind the basket too, right?
There is. It's probably 20, 25 feet.
Okay.
So I was just laying that one up. I wasn't running that one. If I was another 10 feet without that tree in my way, then I probably would have given it a bid, but I didn't feel comfortable with it.
Sure. But at least you parred. Pars are smart.
Took the par. That was one that I was hoping to birdie.
297 feet. Through that gap.
Through the Comet. It did not stay as stable as I wanted it to and left it short. I just didn't commit to that throw. In practice, I ended up way down on the right side there by the brush, and I didn't want to go that far. Definitely just laid that one up. I wanted to get this birdie, but I was out of position, and I didn't want to risk missing and going down the hill.
And the basket looked like, it looks like it's uphill. So you don't want to overthrow and have the disc roll out.
That's something I've been working on a lot this last year, is making sure that I don't take extra strokes on the green from getting too aggressive. I generally am an aggressive player. I want to run everything, but sometimes it's not worth it. It's not worth bringing a bogey into play when you can guarantee the par.
Hole 13, we just saw the last card finish up. By now, there's a little bit of a backup, so we were waiting, and I feel like that really breaks the momentum when you have to wait for another card to finish.
I tend to not do well after having to sit and wait with backups. They're a reality of tournament play, though, and it's something that I need to improve on. But I was able to execute the shot there with the TI Stalker and have a good look at birdie here. Probably 18-footer.
So you're with your putter right now, right? Your McPro AVR?
Yep, I've putted with the McPro AVR ever since I started, pretty much.
Look at that blue sky. So nice. Look at that birdie. Also very nice. 612 feet.
No, this is a par 3. I think we had the wrong overlay on that one. So this one's just a short shot, a turnover. I left it well short, though, unfortunately.
But the basket's through the trees, right?
Basket's right there, situated in the trees. Saw a guy hit cage on this one right after we played this hole. That was pretty awesome. I thought I had that one. And then it just faded out right in front of the pin.
Did it hit the basket?
No, it just was right in front of the chains and hit that tree to the right side.
Okay.
Kind of rolled back.
Gotcha.
Now we're on to the... I think we're a hole off here, but that's okay. This one's a par 4, 600 some feet. There's a really famous video out there of a guy acing it in last year's tournament. It's one that I'm playing for birdie. Basically, it's wide open. Just throw as far as you can. Unfortunately, I threw this one turned over and right into the ground pretty much. Didn't get enough distance.
Seemed like the wrong distance, too. Like you were going way to the left.
Yep. So I was well out of position here. Didn't quite know what to throw. Decided to be a little bit aggressive and just throw into the hillside with that pink stalker. It was essentially the same exact shot as I threw on the island hole.
What were you thinking mentally? Were you just kind of like frazzled because of where it went?
I would say I was frustrated with myself just because it's a wide open shot, and I was frustrated with my angle control all tournament so far. I just really hadn't been hitting my lines and wasn't trusting my discs. Normally I know exactly how far they're going to go for each disc, and I just had a lot of trouble this tournament dialing it in. So I actually went out of bounds there deep, and now I'm putting for par rather than putting for birdie.
That's a bummer.
Oh, that's a worse bummer. As you can see, I'm pretty frustrated.
You were putting uphill too, right?
Yep, putting uphill. And now I'm putting for bogey, basically the exact same shot. You always hate to see it come so close and hit cage like that and then roll.
Yeah. What disc are you using now to putt? Is it the McPro?
Yeah, I pretty much only putt with my main McPro AVR. I have some backups, but that's my go-to putter, with very few exceptions.
Step in.
That was really close. We determined it was just outside the circle.
Oh, for the step putt, you mean?
For the step putt. If it's
Okay.
inside 33 feet or 10 meters, you can't do a step putt like that.
Gotcha.
Now onto hole 15. This one plays like 320 feet. It's uphill. So I throw a wide hyzer with my D3, and it was actually really close to acing. We couldn't see exactly where it was, but it was coming right in toward the basket. And where it ended up, it was kind of about 28, 30 feet to the right of the pin. Had to have come close.
This one seemed like a really difficult hole for a lot of players, just with that ditch in between.
Yeah, a lot of discs get caught up in that ditch.
And then you have to putt uphill. That's a challenge.
Yep.
And you don't want to hit something and roll back down the ditch.
I'd say it's probably hard for someone to end up back in the ditch. More likely if someone goes too far. There is a hill back there. As you can see, the wind is kind of picking up here if you look at the flag on the basket. I think that got in my head a little bit on this putt, but up until this point, I had not missed a C1 putt all tournament. So I was feeling very confident on the green, and I was thinking, okay, just knock this one in. Missed everything. And it's basically the same putt coming back the other way.
Were you uphill or downhill? Or level with the basket?
The first one was level, this one's a little bit uphill.
Okay. So is that a sand trap?
Sand trap right in front of the pin. I find that I don't play this hole very well in practice, so I was playing for par, tried to play really safe, and almost went out of bounds. You can see how close I am to the cart path right there.
And here I am trying to catch up, walk and catch up.
I wasn't pleased with that approach. It's a 20-foot putt with a hazard right behind the pin and a little bit windy.
Sad Jake.
Yeah, I wasn't. I tried to play a hole. That's something that I've also been frustrated with when I try and play a hole safe and then I put myself in trouble. Even though this seems like a routine putt, that hazard behind the pin is scary. Because if you miss, here I'm throwing my third, if you miss, you're putting 5 from down in that sand trap with the risk of hitting the basket and going back in the sand trap, taking a huge number.
You still birdie, right?
No, that was a bogey.
My bad.
4 shots, par 3, bogey.
Okay, gotcha. 17, this one is long.
On to hole 17. It is long, but it's a par 4. That's a pretty short par 4. Evan, one of the guys on my card, actually drove into the sand trap behind the pin right there with a wraith.
That was amazing.
Which is an amazing shot. Incredible to see. And unfortunately wasn't able to make the birdie putt on his second shot, which would have been his third stroke because of the hazard.
So about how far away are you now from
About 250 feet from the pin, downhill. I throw my Luna, just want to make sure that I keep it in front of the pin because that sand trap is pretty close inside the circle. Probably only like 10, 15 feet max. So I just kind of put the Luna out wide, knew right away it was going to be parked, felt really good, and it should be pretty much under the pin. Yep. Tap in birdie.
Nice.
That definitely helped a lot. I had missed 2 C1 putts in a row on 15 and 16. So I wanted to make sure I got back on the birdie train and finished strong here.
18.
18, you see the sand trap hazard. Cart path on the right is out of bounds. I threw a perfect tee shot, got into the position I wanted to. Didn't get too aggressive here. Pretty routine 290-foot upshot to the green.
But there's so much on either side, left or right, that you need to stay away from.
There is, but one players I think aren't really thinking about the out of bounds or the sand trap. They're thinking about parking the hole. And I just yanked it. I was not happy.
That was your comment?
It was my comment. I just wasn't trusting any of my throws. I was pretty frustrated with that. I was choosing the right disc and just not executing.
Here we are. About how far away do you think you are?
50 feet or so.
The basket's
50,
up.
55 maybe, 45. I don't remember. Nailed it.
So nice. What a
Yeah,
nice finish.
C2 putts are keeping me in it.
Whew.
So that was a solid round, shot above my rating, I believe.
Finished.
Definitely could have done better on the back nine. I was disappointed with the whole 13, 14, 15, 16 hole stretch. With the exception of those 4 holes, though, it was a solid round.
And you placed a little bit higher.
Placed a little bit higher. It might just be my expectations for myself, but I definitely thought I was capable of shooting 6 under there and jumping up a couple more spots. But trending in the right direction, moving from 20th to 17th. It is an A tier, lots of really good players there. Congrats to Evan on my card. He shot a great round, hot round for the card, and just need to get back at it on the gorge for the final round in round 3.
Nice. Thanks for joining us, and tomorrow we will be at the gorge for round 3.